December 31st, New Year's Eve.
Man.
Yay!
Going
My
down.
name's Kim Jones. I'm in for Kay Adams alongside Nate Burleson, Peter Schrager, and Kyle Brandt.
What's up, Kim? I want one brief announcement. I'm changing my name. I'm now going by Kylaria. It's a little brand extension, so if you wouldn't mind calling me that moving forward, I would appreciate it.
2021, do your thing.
I'm trying to extend. It's Kylaria Brandt. That's
Just
it.
double down on it,
Kylaria Brandt or no, it is time for the lead
Lead
block.
block. Double down, Kyle.
3 teams are still alive in the NFC East, and it'll all be decided Sunday night. For the latest on the Washington football team, who of course plays against Philadelphia in Week 17, here is our own Mike Garafolo.
Alex Smith officially did not practice for the Washington football team on Wednesday. It was Taylor Heineke working with the first team during the team portion of practice. However, Smith did some work on the side, and there is still guarded optimism that he will be ready to go on Sunday against the Eagles. In fact, he did work, I am told, with the first team during the walkthrough before practice, so perhaps that is an indication that they believe he'll be ready to go on Sunday. In the meantime, they want to get Heineke more reps. They were impressed what he did against Carolina, even though he didn't have much work to that point. So they think a little bit of work in practice, he'll be even better if we need him, even if he doesn't start that game against Philly. And by the way, the Eagles, a lot of talk from folks down there when I talked to them about wanting to spoil the party for Washington. And somebody said, look, we're finally out of it. There's nothing on the line. So watch us play well now and win by 30 now that the pressure is officially off. If so, they'd spoil it for their divisional rivals.
It all makes sense, Mike Garafolo. Thank you so very much. Well, the NFC East will get decided one way or another in Week 17. It's pretty simple, really. Washington wins, and they're in. But if the Eagles beat Washington Sunday night, the winner of the earlier game in the afternoon, Cowboys-Giants, will be the NFC East champ. So 3 teams still alive. And by the way, that team's going to host a playoff team, playoff game. So that's pretty interesting. Guys, could any of the 3 teams still alive in the NFC East make some noise in the playoffs? And for the one and only time, I'm going to refer to you as Kylaria.
Please, Kylaria. Yes. Well, you know, that team in Washington led by Alex Smith, or is it Alec Smith? I'm really lost on all these names now. All right, if you are at home right now, and let's say you're one of these NFC quarterbacks, and you're Russell Wilson, or you're Drew Brees, or Brady, one of these guys, one of these legends, I think you're just watching TV, you're seeing football television, it's on in the room, and I think you're thinking, like, please don't let Washington in. I don't want Washington in. I don't want any part of that defensive line. I don't want to get hit like that. Give us the Giants. Please, give us the... I don't think you want Washington, which is why I think they're the team that can make some noise, especially if they have Alex Smith out there. I've been beating the drum on this all season since September. He's the best quarterback on the roster. His only loss as a starter was his first start. Other than that, he's 4-0 straight since that loss as a starter. He's thrown 3 picks in 5 games. It's classic Alex Smith. And I have you know that it's the way this thing is shaking out. If Washington gets in, there's a very good mathematical shot that they play the Buccaneers in the first round. Alex Smith has beaten Tom Brady. Alex Smith has beaten Tom Brady in Foxborough in blowout fashion in week 1 of the season. I don't see a lot of these other guys say the same thing. We can get into the Cowboys. We can get into the Giants, all of that. I see Sweat and Young and Alex Smith, and I don't want any part of one of these NFC quarterbacks dangerous. I think it's Washington.
Yeah, I'm looking at Andy Dalton and the Cowboys. And, you know, it seems like it took a while to take shape. He had that injury in the middle of the season when he first took over as a starter. But now they're starting to catch the rhythm. You know, and it's not just the pass game. I mean, we're familiar with how Gallup has come on as of recently. C.D. Lamb is showing why he was drafted where he was. We know that Amari Cooper is just like the consummate pro. He's going to be where you need him to be and catch the ball. But it's also the run game. You know, call me crazy, but
go on.
I kind of like what Zeke is doing.
Look good last week
right now.
Nate, last week he played his best game of the year by far.
You feel me?
Good.
It's
Really
almost like he's getting right at the perfect time. And listen, Tony Pollard has looked fantastic, and he's been holding it down. There's moments this year, let's just keep it real, where Tony Pollard looked like the best running back in football. But now you have Ezekiel Elliott, who is willing to prove that, all right, guys, I hear you guys saying that I'm not worth the money. And I hear you guys saying this is why you don't pay running backs. Let me show you why my style of running is built for not only December, but a run in January. Andy Dalton's not going to throw the game away. I truly believe that. If you have Ezekiel Elliott, hard-nosed, physical running back in the month of January, don't sleep on the fact that these Cowboys can punch you in the mouth and flip over this table. I do feel like the Cowboys are one of the scariest teams, not just in the NFC East. If they get into this tournament, watch out, man. Let's not forget. Forget about what you think about the Cowboys. This is the Dallas Cowboys.
It's funny. Zeke has had a bad season statistically and fumbles and all that stuff. Cam Newton doesn't look himself. And you could say, well, Zeke just wasn't there. Both those guys battled COVID-19. I do think there's something to Zeke coming out of the gates a little slow.
They say COVID fog is what they call it.
And he was not himself at the start of the season. And last week, for the first time, I was like, oh, well, that's Ezekiel Elliott. Yeah. Maybe he's fully healthy. I'm not making excuses for him. I'm saying maybe. I look at this NFC East, and this conversation here is so fun because we're doing it on Week 17. And I'm going to throw out every source I have in the league and anything that I've talked about and look at it from a really big picture. What have we learned about this season? It's the weirdest, bat bleep crazy season we have ever seen in the NFL.
Yeah.
And this division has had Ben DiNucci play big games. This season has seen Tyler Heineke be in big games. This season saw Colt McCoy beat the Seahawks in Seattle. I would say rip up everything.
Colt McCoy for the Giants.
Colt McCoy for the Giants.
Not Washington.
Right, with Jason Garrett calling the plays.
Yes.
The weirdest season ever. And to just say, well, Washington's the best team, it doesn't seem like that fits the season that it's been. Yeah. Here's how I see it happen. Okay. Giants, who have been awful the past 2 weeks, just completely lifeless on Sunday night against Cleveland, and then maybe worse against Baltimore, showing they have nothing to give. This is the Cleveland game 2 weeks ago. I mean, a Sunday night game with all the hype. You got Tirico and Collinsworth making the trip to MetLife, and the Giants forgot to show up. Yeah. And then last week, you got the Ravens game, nothing. How this season's going? Watch the Giants completely empty the bag, be loose. Daniel Jones plays his game of his career.
They beat Dallas.
And then watch the Eagles blow out Washington. We're going to have the New York Giants and that man hosting a playoff game.
At MetLife.
Not Dallas. Next week at MetLife, hosting Tom Brady, who, by the way, if it wasn't for a very questionable pass interference call at the end of a 2-point conversion attempt, the Giants might have beaten the Buccaneers earlier this season.
Peter, I think MetLife might have a home playoff game and a Jets 3-game winning streak to end the season.
Can you imagine? That's what we're looking at.
I think we're looking at that.
It has been that weird of a season where if you're a Giants fan, you might be like, we got no shot. You do have a shot. And it's not because I see some great silver lining in the way the team has played. They've been playing terrible. It's because this year has been so weird. Yeah. So the Giants, still alive, and the fact they're still alive means they may very well be winning this division.
I'll tell you guys what, Joe Judge grew up an Eagles fan. There is a chance Sunday night he's the biggest Eagles fan on the planet.
Yes.
If his
they could beat Dallas,
Dallas, my goodness gracious. Couple of things though. I think that Washington has the best unit in the division in the front. How good is that front? So good that we don't even talk about Ryan Kerrigan, who's been a really, really good player for a long time and has 5.5 sacks. We never mention him. Oh, he's 5.5 sacks. Oh, okay, that's Ryan Kerrigan. Well, combine that with what these young guys are doing. Montez Sweat, who is so fast. That's a 4.41, 40 guy playing defensive end. That should be illegal.
Yeah, you're right.
And Chase Young, who's really becoming everything Washington hopes he would be. I just think that that's going to be too much. And that's going to be the overwhelming reason that they win, coupled with the idea that I'm counting on Alex Smith being some semblance of Alex Smith, which is a really good player, obviously, throwing to Antonio Gibson out of the backfield, and of course Terry McLaurin, who's one of the really good receivers in this league. So,
my question to you guys: can a team win a game based on the strength of their defensive line? Like that's the offense really is inefficient at times. So, like Kim, I ask you, you've covered this game for so long. Do you think something like a Chase Young and a Montez Sweat can actually say, "Follow us. We're going to lead you there"?
I saw the Giants do it with Michael Strahan.